So before we continue, let's first rename this page down here because we also have a column chart here. So let's maybe call this overview in the end because it's kind of an overview of our population data. So let's maybe do it like this. And as said in the last lecture, I now want to dive into another field which we can see if we select this left chart here. So here the tooltips and the right visual here, also the tooltips. As explained on the theory slide, a tooltip is information that gets displayed if you hover over certain parts of your visual. In case of the right chart here, we see that our tooltips contain the region name and the population, so the fields we use for the axis and value. And if you go to the left visual, you see we have the information about the year, about the region, and about the population count. So if I select this visual, also all the fields we are using. The cool thing about the tooltip though is that we can add information to this visual which is not immediately displayed, but which only is available if we hover over certain parts of our visual. For this, as you can see, I selected the left visual here. We have that share of the female population, this measure we created. Let's take this one and let's add it right here in the tooltips. And as you can see, we have a new headline. So we have the share female population here displayed on top. So we see that we added information, but the chart itself, the visual itself, didn't change. But you can see it already here. If I hover over this visual now, you see that the share of the female population for the different regions and for the corresponding year is added to it. So this is how a tooltip works. By the way, if the tooltip would contain more information, for example, if you would go to our dim age table here and then take the age category, which contains multiple categories like baby, teenager, child, and so on. And if I would add this as a tooltip down here, so now we have two tooltips, you can see that here we only get the information about one age category, the first age category, so it's sorted alphabetically here. So the first one is, well, the adult, but the other age categories are not displayed simply because we don't have enough space in here. Therefore, we probably don't want to use this one, so let's delete the first age category here. So these are tooltips, but we have more ways to interact with our data. Let's, for example, say that I select the Asia region here. And now you see something very interesting, right? You see that the color in the right chart here changed, so the selected bar was highlighted, whereas the other ones have a bit brighter color scheme now. And more importantly, in the left visual here, you see that we only get one line chart now. If I select it again, we have the initial state back. Like this, we only get Asia. And this also works for the other regions, for Africa, Europe, and so on. Let's unselect this and let's see what happens if we click a specific part of the left visual here in Asia. In 2043, here 43, so let's hit that dot here, and this also works. And what you can see here is now that we selected the population in Asia, but only of that specific year. Here we have the cumulative values for all our years, therefore this is a very high population count, but this is just the population for this specific year. The question now is, what is going on right here? Well, if we select a visualization, for example, this left visualization here, or maybe the right one, I guess it's more clear with these bars. Well, if we select it and then go to Format right here, then you see this added interactions part right here. And this changes how visuals interact with each other. So if I select this, you see suddenly this symbol here appeared. Let me unselect it. It's gone. Now it's here. Now what does this symbol mean? Let's hover over it. It says that a filter is applied. Now this means if, and now it's important, if we select this visual, so this visual we currently selected, then this filters the data in the other visual. If I would unselect this by clicking right here and click it, you see it doesn't have an impact. But if I change this, like that, it suddenly changes. This also worked the other way around, right? But if you think back, we saw that here we had this filter option, but when we clicked onto the dot right here, we saw that in the right visual here, we still had the entire information, but just parts of it highlighted. Why do I put the emphasis on highlight? Well, if we select the left chart now and hover right here, you see we have two options, highlight, which is at the moment selected, and filter. If we go to filter now and click onto something right here, you see, now we only get back the population for the corresponding year in the corresponding region. Right here or right there. Africa, you see it down here, or the other one, North America. So this is what we can do with interactions. We can specify whether visuals should interact with each other. For example, if I unselect this, we get back the initial one, and now I can click right here and right there just as I want. And we can also specify how these should interact. We have a filter or the highlight option, but as I said, which one is available depends on the visual type. So let's say we want to have this highlight option, as this was quite nice, and let's say here, if we go right here, the filter option is also fine. If we now unselect the edit interactions, this menu is gone. And let's now unselect all our visuals, like this. If I hover over the visuals though, you see we still have this filter symbol up here. What is this? This symbol can be clicked, right? Doesn't have any impact. It just shows us if any kind of filter is applied. As we adjusted our interactions and allowed the filtering to happen between both of these visuals, if I now click onto a dot right here, you see here, no filter is applied. But if I hover over the right visual, hover right here, you see what type of filtering is applied at the moment, right here. Same thing is happening the other way around. So if I just select this region right here, hover right here, check it, you see we have just the Asian region name. So with that, you can see if any kind of filtering is taking place at the moment. So this is how tooltips and the interactions work. So how one visual can have an impact onto another one. But if we select one of the visuals, we only had a look at the format part here, this edit interactions part. But what about this drill down here, and specifically here, this data drill feature, apply drill down filters too, and also drill through in general? Let's explore this in a bit more detail as a next step.